This is
All
Cynthia
right.
Horner from Right On Digital, and I am here with vocal coach extraordinaire Owen Valentine. And he's going to talk to us today about his illustrious career. Now,
Oh,
Owen, let's start out. I have one question I've been dying to ask, which is the fact
okay.
that you were born in London. So,
Right.
were you just born in London or did you grow up in London too?
Well, I was born in London, and I would say I learned to talk and walk in London, and right about the age of 5 or 6, came to the United States. Now, what was funny is you remember as a child all the other children going, "You talk funny," because you have a bit of a Brit accent, and you learn to talk Brit at first. So. And my
Yeah.
father was from Jamaica, so then I had a little bit of a West Indian thing, a little bit of the British thing. So I definitely talked weird as a child.
Oh,
Not
okay.
that not that I'm an adult now, but you get
Yeah,
it.
I asked you about London because that's one of my favorite cities. And
Oh,
I've been
awesome.
there quite a few times. The last time I went, I think I was with Michael Jackson.
Okay.
He had me with him for a week when he was doing some shows over there. And
Oh, wow.
that was really fun. We stayed in the same hotel and had to hide
Mm.
out from the fans.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a whole thing about being on tour where you're like, okay, I'm on tour and this should be fabulous, but actually you have to kind of be secretive. You can't let everybody know you're there. Yeah.
right,
Hmm.
right. Now,
Yeah.
as a vocal coach, you've worked with some really awesome people that everybody knows. What has it
Mhm.
been like working with some of these iconic celebrities?
Well, I guess the first thing is I try not to get awestruck when I am working with someone who maybe I grew up listening to, or maybe like their music is so imprinted in your head that now they're asking you a question and they need your support. And you almost have to turn off the celebrity thing and just deal with them musician to musician. So, but I can remember getting awestruck one time. I did one session with Felicia Rashad, and I remember going, "Oh man, should I hug her or should I sit at the piano?" You know, I just had that look. Anyway, you know, it's been a wonderful journey. I get a chance to work with some of the greatest musicians on the planet and continue to help them tell their stories and make music with them. We've had some incredible jam sessions, just us,
Now,
Yeah.
these people had great voices, but
Yes.
you're there as a vocal coach.
Right.
So, what is it like being a vocal coach when the celebrities already have so much talent?
You know, I look at it like my job is to look at everything that they're bringing to the table and then look for how I can tweak it. I consider myself a race car driver of a sort, like they are the race car and I'm the driver, and I just have to get them through this great show. Let me give an example. What are you going to do when Stevie Wonder asks you a question?
I've been through all that before with
Right,
him.
right, right. So when Stevie asks you a question, you have to look at it from the perspective of Stevie's had 10,000 answers before you ever got there. So you have to look for what is the deeper meaning in the moment. More importantly, I always have to remind myself that my job is to keep learning new things myself. So when I step in front of them to go, "Oh, wow, you're up on this. Okay, can you take me somewhere that I haven't seen before?" See, I play, I don't know, 2 or 3 dozen instruments. I singer, violinist, piano, bass, and a whole bunch of things. So when I meet these incredible voices, sometimes it's not about the voice. Sometimes it's about something that's happening inside the music, or maybe some small aspect. Because at their speed, they're already great. At that speed, I just need to tweak it, tweak it. And sometimes they need someone who's going to help them with their diet or what they're eating before they sing. I invented a formula called the SMT formula that helps with like sore throats and damaged voices and this kind of things. And it can prevent nodule surgery. So all these little things add into my bag of tricks. And when I walk in with a bag of herbal medicine. I walk in with all that instrumental knowledge. I walk in with, I can sing almost every note that they can sing. So we're having a beautiful conversation. Aretha Franklin, I got to spend a week with her. And Aretha and I talked music, which is wonderful. That's what it should be. It's like two friends getting together. It's not like I'm coming in like, okay, I'm going to tell you what you should do. No, not at all. Unless they ask me to be an authoritarian, I'm a part of their team. I just want to make beautiful music, help you tell your story, continue telling your story, and just keep doing it. Okay, you want me to warm your voice up? Good. Turn your head off and let me be in charge. That's it.
Oh, now you talked about your bag of tricks. There are a lot of celebrities that do not take care of their voices.
Oh yeah.
Now, what would you advise people that are starting to stray and not really using their voice as an instrument because they've taken it for granted?
Ooh, the stories I could tell with the non-disclosure agreement. Okay, all right. So
yeah, I'm just talking about in terms of some of the younger people that are going to see this interview, and maybe they smoke, maybe they drink too much, maybe they don't wrap their throats up after.
Okay, so all right, so I got you. So here we go. Number one, your voice sits inside your body. I'm gonna say it again. Your voice sits inside your body. It's the last part of the human body to be finished. It's the last part of the body that actually matures. And that's because the longer you wait in this process as you get older, it should be the more you have to say. And now you have this amazing voice to tell your story with. That being, you have to take care of your body. If you're a singer and you don't belong to a gym, join one. If you've never had a trainer, find one. If you've never taken dance classes, take some. Keep in mind that you are what you eat, and most of what comes out of your mouth reflects what you eat. So if you're sitting up there drinking a lot of things that cause you to be congested and full of mucus, just take some simple notes. For most people, it's avoiding heavy alcohol usage, drugs, screaming and shouting at your dog, and you got a show the next day, screaming and shouting at anybody. Taking care of your instrument should be just like you take care of your car. You need an oil change, you need a filter change, you need the seats done, you need to take care of your leather, all of these kinds of things. If you've never taken, some people are wonderful singers, but they've never had a technique teacher at all. Find someone like me. Find somebody who can help you figure out how to use your instrument, not just for today, but if you're on tour 5 days in a week and you have 2 shows and makeup and wardrobe and interviews, your instrument needs to be able to take all of that. So it's not enough that you sound good at your talent show or your local club. That's not going to hold you up when you got a 10-city tour. It won't work. So I say, I get a massage before every show. The night before, the day of every show, I get a massage. I'm very strict on my diet. And for God's sake, don't talk a lot when your show is coming up. Cut your vocal usage back. On a tour with Celine Dion, we had a conversation, and I think Celine would stop talking 4 or 5 days before a big show.
And
she wouldn't talk at all.
I'm glad you mentioned her because one time I got to meet her, and she had done a show. It was a charity show that her record label was involved with. They had me go backstage, and she was sitting there, neck wrapped up, and I was saying hi and how much I liked her music and everything.
No, she probably nodded.
She told me that she really has to rest her voice, and
Yes.
not
Yes.
do much speaking, and that
Yes.
that's what other singers need to do and that they
Yes.
don't.
Yes.
And I'll
Yes.
never forget that.
Hmm.
I'll never forget that.
And every show that I can think of with her, that was a common factor, is that, okay, if the show's on Friday, if we're at Madison Square Garden or wherever that is, start 4 days before that. She's not really talking. She's resting. She puts literally everything into the performance. And if some of our greater vocal divas that we have had in the last 10, 15 years took a little better care of their instruments, we would have had their voices longer.
Right.
So many people lose their voices in your 20s. Your voice isn't mature until you're almost 50.
Mm.
Until you're almost 50. So you have to take care of your instrument. You have to take care of it. Exercise, diet, nutrition. I didn't mention this. I'm a naturopath. I went back to school and got my naturopathic certifications and blah, blah, blah. So I'm also became doctor this and blah, blah, blah. And people were like, well, why do I need you if I'm going to sing? Okay, call me in 2 weeks into the tour. The number one reason for singer cancellation is what? They're ill or they're vocally tired. And that's all of your divas, all of the people who you've had that we look up to, wonderful, wonderful music, wonderful, amazing voices, and then they get tired.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
could never get tired talking to you. You've got some great stories to tell. Now I want to take us back to when you first got started in the business, because you mentioned that you are skilled at playing so many different instruments. How did all that develop?
Well, I always loved music. But like many people, my parents didn't want me to go into music, not ostensibly. And so when I was very young, I said, I need to get on my own. And everybody told me it was too late. You're 16, it's over. If you haven't done it yet, it's over. Because everyone else has already been playing 8 years by the time you get there. So, not being one to listen to naysayers, I went ahead and I started taking voice lessons. And everyone I ran into kept telling me that, I said, this is a hard business. This is a hard business. And I don't know. And something inside me kept screaming, you know what? I'm going to make my own destiny. So I started playing the violin around 23, and I was on tour around the world by 26.
Wow. What made you pick up the violin?
Oh, I had the fortune of meeting some other Black violinists who were out at the time. And their meeting them and hearing them, it just gave me that feeling that there was another option. There was something else that I could do with the instrument. But when I first played the violin, I did not want to play Tchaikovsky. I did not want to play Mozart or Beethoven. I wanted to play like Aretha Franklin on the violin. I wanted to play Stevie Wonder on the violin. I wanted to play Earth, Wind and Fire and Michael Jackson on the violin. So I wanted to do that kind of thing. So I had to forge my own route. After a certain number of years, something happened. I think I got it in my head that almost everything that I am not able to do at this moment is long-term hypnosis of people telling me what I could not do. And then I realized, well, wait a minute, if that's true, then you could probably play anything. So the next thing was I started working at piano seriously, which helped me in my teaching because now I could play for my students and play their music. And I got better and better and better, took more lessons, get better. See, that's the only thing you should do is get better. So next was the bass, then it was the guitar, then it was the harmonica, then I started sitar, then I started tabla, and I started a bunch of African instruments and flute and then saxophone, and it just kept going and going and going. And someone would say, aren't you tired? I said, no, I actually do love music. I love it. As time went along, I think my feeling is that I'm not ever going to be done learning and growing in my music. And this allows me, when I write my own music, or if I'm helping Like, let me see. Do you remember the one and only Aretha Franklin, Divas Live? Did you watch that show? You did? Okay, that arrangement that was done for Mary J. Blige on there, that was my arrangement with the band.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I think about it and I said, man, I'm the guy who people told it would never happen for. They said, it'll never happen. You'll never do it. So my attitude is just keep creating. I can put on a Common record, Sun God, and I hear me playing violin and all these weird sounds on there saying, that's me. But I'm the guy they said it would never happen for. I can listen to Talib Kweli and Mos Def and Santana and Little Kim and a bunch of rap records. And I start going, you're the guy they said wouldn't happen for. So my message to anybody who's listening, who's watching this is it's not only unfair of anybody to tell you that it's not going to happen, but I will tell you this, it won't happen unless you work. You have to put the work in. You have to get started. If you're not taking lessons, you're wrong. If you're not studying under somebody, you're wrong. If you don't have a mentor, you're wrong. If you haven't found a way to empower yourself and make yourself grow as an artist, then you're wrong. This is the only thing you have to do is follow your dream, but you do have to have a way to get there. You have to have a way to get better, and you have to find a way to take yourself throughout this musical life. And it's an amazing life. I love it. I love it. And every day and every week and every moment, something new happens. Because
Wow.
I'm not depending on somebody else to tell me, oh, you're a successful because you did my thing. No, I did my thing.
You are so amazing. Now, before we go, I want you to tell me about your scat camp.
Scat camp. Well, I'm sure you've listened to 1,000 singers who at the end of a song have to improvise and they certainly don't know what to do.
Comes in
So
the stage.
yeah, right. All the improv was in the studio, and it sounds wonderful because the producer, who's a musician, took 2,000 hours of them improvising and put it into one piece. Aretha Franklin and all of our iconic singers, these singers could sing 20 takes, and every 20 take would be flawless.
Stephanie Mills is a great example of that.
Stephanie, I work with Stephanie Mills. She's an amazing singer. And if you hear Stephanie once, you got to hear her the next time because she's going to do something different. I worked with Teddy Pendergrass. Teddy is one of those guys who everything that came out of Teddy was pure Teddy. And he's going to make a new story every time he tells you a story. So Scat Camp was my idea to make a camp that's just for teaching singers how to improvise, whether you sing R&B, jazz, blues, gospel, reggae, hip hop, whatever it is. This is a camp specifically to teach you how to improvise, period. So we had our first camp about 2 weeks ago, and it was a success. Everybody came out. We had a great time. I'm getting the next camp going. I'm here in Philadelphia, and you can find Scat Camp on Instagram. And I'm going to start doing a little advertising, a little marketing and pushing it. But I want to keep it intimate enough that people are having a good time, but big enough that we can take it around the world. I want to help the world to sing better. You know,
that is such a great idea. And I'm sure that with the publicity you're going to get from this, it's going to really take off because
awesome.
It's really important. If
it's very important.
A singer, right, then that's something that they should be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to pass on the things that I learned as a singer from working with great musicians like Sun Ra and George Duke and Gil Scott-Heron and Parliament Funkadelic. I've worked with all of the iconic funk and hip hop bands and this and that. And my goal is, well, wait a minute. How do we pass that on? You have to have a method. You have to have a method. So I'm excited to be able to do this, to teach jazz fundamentals and blues fundamentals and the ideas of how giving people the principles of how they can get better. I'm just really excited. And it just came one day out, literally, it just came to my head and I said, I need to start Scat Camp now and teach and teach people what I've learned, pass it on. I've had that chance to sit with Luther, the chance to sit with, pass that on to other people. That's my, and of course the queen of scat, Ella Fitzgerald. So I just want to pass it on, and give it up, and it's all in love. It's all in love. I'm a part of this journey. I am not the journey, but I'm a part of it. I'm just honored to do that.
Well, I want to thank you so much for this interview for Right On Digital, which is the digital platform that accompanies the iconic Right On magazine. And don't be a stranger. We all know the same people, so we could talk forever.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll find some other parts of the industry to share some thoughts on.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day. All
right.